And let us start off with a quick icebreaker. Could you share in the chat where you're joining us from, as well as a positive word to describe you using the first letter of your first name? Let's start there. Say in the chat.
Yeah.
We look forward to you sharing some, we want to start with some positive vibe and energy amidst all the post-Hurricane Melissa stress that we have been experiencing. Dr. Thompson has more than a chock full of mind and body support. So let us start there. Anybody wants to share with us where you're joining from? Anybody in the house from overseas? Which parish are you connecting from? This is a quiet crowd, Dr. Thompson.
Yes,
All right, Sharon Finley, thank you from St. Andrew. Darlene is from St. Andrew. Any out-of-town participants in the house?
Guys, don't forget to put a
West?
positive. Yeah, don't forget to put a positive word that describes you in front of your name as you put where you're from, We'd love to know what's on your heart.
Black River, Darlene, fantastic. Thank you for joining us. Would love to hear at some point in time, how are you doing? How is your family? How is your team member, or are your team members for that matter? Clearly you have some connection at this point in time. Happy to see that. Anyone else from any other parish outside of Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Catherine? Lost roof of my family. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh my word. I hope you're getting some support, Darlene, and at the very minimum, you have relocated to a safe space, a safe place for you and your family. All right, so Darlene, I'm looking forward to hearing that feedback, and feel welcome to share in the chat. So as we have so much to share this afternoon. Thank you for sparing your lunch hour to join us. They say after the storm, we have a calm, and we hope that this will bring some calm and some food for, more than food for thought. There's a lot of support going on post-Hurricane Melissa in terms of feeding the body. And today, Dr. Thompson in conjunction with Dr. Kelly will be sharing so much important psychological welfare and benefit this evening. So we're not just feeding the body with care packages, which is very important, but there is a missing link for a lot of people, which is the mind and body connection, the feeding of the spirit, the soul. So the first webinar topic would be psychological first aid and enabling resilience. All right, so I'm going to start off by, one moment. Just give me a second here. Just a second, let me just check in real quick. All right, so I'm going to do a quick introduction of Dr. Ija Thompson. Dr. Thompson is a proactive promoter of embracing healthy lifestyle as a way of life. He's a CEO of Essential Medical Services. He has been delivering clinical excellence in general practice for over 20 years and positive results in organizational development and team facilitation for 10 years. His postgraduate and executive education focus are resilience, work stress, leadership, workplace wellness, behavioral policy, appreciative inquiry, and coaching. He leads fellow medical wellness organizational professionals within his Thrive at Work team in developing and implementing comprehensive standards-based workplace wellness solutions for a diverse range of organizations. He's an advocate of having balanced and rounded Christian life. His hobbies include reading, gardening, and jogging. He's a proud and married father of 3 children who is passionately striving to be a better humanitarian, which he certainly is. So that is our introduction for Dr. Thompson. Dr. Thompson, is Dr. Kelly on as yet? I'm not
She's
sure.
on her way. Technology does give a little bit of an issue.
Okay.
She's in Mandeville, so
Okay.
but she's on her way. So probably I will start, and then
Right.
she will join from there. But I think we can introduce her, and then
Right.
I'll begin the prayer, and I'll do the start.
Okay, fantastic. All right. So Dr. Grace Kelly, just a second. Dr. Grace Kelly describes herself as a crisis interventionist, grief and trauma therapist coach. She considers herself a servant leader who leads with integrity, compassion, and excellence, possessing years of progressive professional accomplishments as an associate professor, university administrator, counselor, corporate trainer, international motivational speaker, grief and trauma therapist. She is also an author of an international bestseller, a visionary author. A proud product of Northern Caribbean University, Jamaica, and she also is, apologies please, she excels in creating and delivering stimulating Christ-centered, client-focused services and care. So that is the brief introduction for Dr. Kelly, and we look forward to her presentation, which will be focusing on psychological first aid and enabling resilience. Right now, we're going to just jump ahead with Dr. Thompson's presentation after the storm. So without any further ado, Dr. Thompson, please take it away for us.
Thank you so much, Cheryl, and thanks so much to HRMAJ for partnering with us to really look at something that's very important, caring connections. How do we ensure that we have adequate caring connections? And caring connections can be thought about from so many perspectives. We can think about the people, we can think about the professionals, but we can also think about the things that allow us to care, right? Are we connected to those caring connections? As much as we do need to be able to do those care packages and all of those wonderful things that we're doing, the number one predictor of good and high quality human life is the type of connections we have. As a matter of fact, the leading predictor of resilience is the supportiveness of our connections. And so we hope from this series that we're going to do that from the perspective of psychological and physical health, that we'll be able to help you to look at how you care in these areas. And certainly there's a ton load of other resources we're going to introduce you to be able to improve the way in which you care. So while we wait on Dr. Kelly to come through, we'd have wanted to start with psychological first aid, but given that there are technology issues, I know she'll get here before I am through. So I will begin by starting on the other side. How do we prevent and treat common illnesses after hurricane or a rain? Please let me know, or rain. Please let me know if you can see my slides.
Yes, we can. Clear.
Great, 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 great. All right. So the whole idea for us is that there's not enough mental health professionals or physical health professionals to deal with the scale of the disaster that has occurred in Jamaica right now. It is said that whenever greater than 25% of your population is affected, then you're in a state of mass disaster, right? And mass disaster comes with it some unique things, and a lot of us are experiencing that collective sense of trauma, that collective sense of guilt, that collective sense of sadness, but also we're also feeling that collective sense of resilience, that collective sense of care is also coming out. Now, because mass disasters have these unique properties. For a lot of us, which COVID was just about 4 years ago in terms of the heart of it, we, you know, like the Israelites sometimes forget that we have gone through and we have done extremely well in these circumstances. But given a chance to really put our caring nature back onto the test. Martin Luther said, the ultimate test of a man is not where he stands in the time of ease, but where he stands in the times of adversity. And so we do hope that for each and every one of you, there is something new that you've been able to appreciate since this hurricane. And I'd love for you to drop in the chat for me. What is one thing new that I've appreciated since this hurricane? Drop that in the chat for me. What is one thing new that I've appreciated more since the hurricane? What is one thing new or one thing that I've appreciated more since the hurricane, said Beto? Just drop that in the chat for me. And let's just all connect on the things that we appreciate. We asked you to first drop your name in with a positive word that describes you. And I see determined from Darlene. Thank you so much for sharing that. And Darlene, that determined spirit is so necessary and will be so powerful to you as you go through the journey on the South Coast. All right. So Sharon says family and togetherness is what she appreciates more, or something that stood out as a novel thing. We see responsible Raquel. I love that, Raquel. Thank you. She says the ability to connect online. It was so easy to do before, right? But realizing that this is something that can so easily disappear and can take so long to return, right? Ability to connect family time from Cheryl has come up. What else? Come on, share a few more things that you do appreciate, either more or new since the hurricane. Let's drop a few more things. And while you guys drop a few more things, I'd encourage the guys who dropped already, Sharon, Raquel, Cheryl, to think about why. Why is it that these things, is more appreciated at this time versus before the hurricane? All right, others, please drop in the chat. What's what's one thing new or one thing that you appreciate more since the hurricane? Please drop it in the chat for us. Let's begin with life. Lovely. And that's resilient, Lily. Lovely. Thank you for sharing that. All right, let's go. Let's come back to Sharon. Uh, Michael, talk to us. Shelter is coming in there. Why is family and togetherness so appreciated so much more since the hurricane? And if Sharon's mic can't be unmuted, we can jump to Raquel. If you can unmute, let's respond to Raquel. Why is connection there, right?
Thanks, Doc. I had shared in the chat. Immediately following the storm, my mom and my brothers, they live in St. Anne, and though I knew that St. Anne, parts of St. Anne had a moderate damage, I anticipated based on the trajectory of the storm that they would have gotten some amount of damage, and I was concerned for my mom and my brothers. But
Mm-hmm.
immediately following the storm, the roads were blocked. I couldn't physically go down there. And
Mm-hmm.
so having the ability to get to them online or through the telephone eased my anxiety.
Indeed, indeed.
Um, yeah.
So, sort of, the things that we take for granted, that is granted as a gift, became so acutely aware, right? We take it for granted that we just pay our internet bills and so forth, and we should have internet. But it's really a gift that's granted, even though we paid for it, even though we worked and put so much effort into it. And there are things like life itself that was just granted to us, right? If I ask Lily, right? When you think of why is life so much more appreciated now, Lily? If Lily is having any audio issues, we see that Cheryl has shared the time we have is finite and important to treasure how things can change in an instant. Treasure the intangible things, right? And when we say intangible things, we're really talking about the things that they have no price to them. Sometimes we can't touch them. It's the sense of hope. It's the joyfulness that a call creates for us when it comes from someone who we care about, right? And so being able to have the time to be able to do these things that are less tangible, again, the things that are granted that we often take for granted. Darlene said, appreciating people around me. Michelle agreed that life is important. That's lovely, Michelle. Thank you so much, Michelle, for putting that positive word. So she said, post-hurricane life and other chances to help. And I really want us to all just take a little moment and center ourselves around these good things. These good things so often just fly by in our day-to-day life. And of course, we do take periodic moments when the busyness of life calm down to look at them. But sometimes we never do. Sometimes it just takes months or even years to really just pause and recenter ourselves. And one of the most important things we'll need to do as we go through the next few months and years of building out or caring connection to make the recovery process something that we can look back and say, job well done, is that we're going to have to center ourselves. We're going to have to ground ourselves regularly. And so I invite you to join me in a grounding exercise using the things that you have brought to mind, these good things, these wonderful things that at times can pass us by. So, very simple grounding exercise. It's about just notice our breath, taking in a nice deep breath, nice and slow, pausing after we inhale. And once we pause, we want to just savor the goodness of the things that we have noticed. And you guys have noticed some wonderful things a while ago. And it is such a wonderful thing to really just feel it in your mind, feel what it feels like to look at it, to touch it, to smell it, to taste it, to know, to get the insights from it. Why is this thing good? And just take a few moments to really savor that experience. And then as you exhale the goodness of it out in the world. And so we would love to talk about speak it into being. And I like to talk about breathe it into being, that the rest of the world experience the goodness as we exhale and we nicely calmly relax. So let's just do 3 breaths and ground ourselves on the things that are good and wonderful for us. So let's go. Deep breath in. This is just practice round first. Let's go deep breath in. Nice and slow, all the way in. And then we pause for a moment. And in that pause, we allow our minds to be filled with the thoughts of things we appreciate more now. See them if we can see them. Feel them if we can feel them. Smell them if we can smell them. Hear them if we can hear them. Use our insights to appreciate why they're good. And then take your gentle time and slowly breathe it out into the world. Breathe it into being that the rest of the world experiences it. Always practice round. Let's do this now. 3 rounds. But our last round, we're gonna actually bring to mind someone that is special to us. that we'd love to pass the goodness to directly. First, we're going to give it to the world in the first two breaths, but in the last breath, we're going to give it to someone specially. Let's go. First one, deep breath in, nice and slow. And then we pause for a moment. Savor the thoughts about life, time, all of these wonderful things. How it feels to really embrace it, the insight of why is it such a good thing. And then gently breathe it out into the world, nice and slow, settling back into your chair if you're sitting. Let your shoulders fall as you smile and see that goodness spread across the world. Every human being gets to feel what it feels like to appreciate these simple intangibles of life. Nice second breath now. Lower this time, deeper this time. And we're going to pause a little bit longer to savor it some more. Really feel what good friends and connections feel like. What they sound like when they speak to you, what they smiles make you feel like when you feel them. And of course, why is it so good? And then, of course, breathe it back out into the world for every human being to experience that goodness. Nicer and slower. You're back even more relaxed. You're slumping more in the chair and just enjoying the goodness of letting the world feel that. For this last breath, we're going to bring to mind someone that is close to us, someone we care about deeply, probably even somebody we haven't told how much we care about them in recent time. And as we take our deep breath in, slower and deeper, bring that person to mind and see them smile at you. And in your mind, you imagine them experiencing the same goodness that you are experiencing. And as you imagine them experiencing it and you're about to exhale, you're just going to say to them, I wish for you to be good. I wish for you to be happy. I wish for you to enjoy the joys of life and breathe all the way out. I hope you all enjoy that grounding exercise, right? I hope you're all a little bit calmer. You feel a little bit more connected to the world because you appreciated something about the world and you pass that goodness into the world. And of course, in connecting with someone who is dear to you, passing that good thought to them makes you more connected. And you may even feel that after this session, you'll send them a quick little message that they came to your mind just a few moments during the session. Human connections are so important. The longest running Harvard study, as we shared, demonstrated that the quality of our connection determined the fulfillment and the quality of our lives. I hope Dr. Kelly has been able to make it in. Cheryl, how are we
Yes,
doing
she
with
has
Dr.
joined us. Dr. Kelly is now on.
All right, awesome. So I'm going to see how quickly I can go through, and then I'll leave it to you to go to with her because what we want in from this session, beyond you appreciating your caring connection, is for you to recognize how much of a hero you are, how much heroic qualities you have, and how many more heroes you can create out there by practicing psychological first aid with everyone. For us, heroes is an acronym. It stands for the heroic qualities we all have. Every one of us have them. We have the H, hope. We can give hope and we are hopeful. We have the E, which is we can be encouraging and encouraging in ways that energizes. We have the R, we are resilient. We're little but with our and we can push through even difficult things. We have the O, we have optimism. We can see the bright future ahead of us. We have the E, we can be effective and excellent in what we do. especially with encouraging energy from before, right? And then, of course, the S, we can synergize in our social connections as we spread our self-belief about sustaining success. So all of us are heroes because we have these heroic qualities and we can pass them. Just as we pass the stories about what's going wrong and all of these frightful things, we can pass our heroic qualities by talking about the hope that we have, the encouragement that we encourage others to energize them, the resilience we have, right? The optimism that we have that we can do great things. We can, as we say, we can build back stronger. The excellence in the way in which we can deliver our efforts, right? And of course,
Dr. Thompson, which slide are you at now? I think we're not seeing your current slide.
all right, let me just try
We're
and
seeing your introduction
reshare.
slide, your title slide.
Yeah, I'm just talking. I'm not gone into the presentation at all.
Okay. Just checking.
Yes.
Just checking.
So Dr. Kelly's gonna go through all of that. So let me just make sure that I am back at the start. So I've done a long introduction about what this is all about as a session, and I'm hoping that as Dr. Kelly closes, what I've started with makes a greater, have a greater, have a deeper meaning for you as you move from here. Because sometimes we come for a little mental boost and we come for a little knowledge. But there's a lot more to grab from this session that will help you to really be the hero that create more heroes as you go along. First, as I'm going to start, helping people to prevent and treat common illnesses that follow a hurricane and after rain. This is important, and I'm going to just take 10 minutes for this. So save your questions for after I'm done, right? Jim Rohn says, take care of our brain and body. They are the only place we have to live. And when we don't take care of our brains and bodies, then what happens is that other things use it opportunistically, like diseases. And so I ask you to drop in the chat, what illnesses or symptoms are you most concerned about since the hurricane? Drop it in the chat for me. What illnesses or symptoms are you most concerned about since the hurricane? In chat for me. Do you have any symptoms or illnesses that you're concerned? Anxiety, nice. Mental well-being, yes. Dengue, I agree with you. That's a big one, right? What else? What other illnesses or symptoms are you concerned about? That was resilient lead. Determined Darlene. Amazing Anne-Marie says mental well-being, bacteria, waterborne diseases. Yeah, so there's several things, right? Cholera. I've heard that one a lot, right? We've been through the cholera epidemic and the cholera endemic states here in Jamaica, as much as we've been through several other foodborne diseases like E. coli, right? Food poisoning. And so all of these, really keep us up as we navigate our day-to-day life, wondering, when is it going to come on the news? When we're gonna start hearing about these things? Because guess what? Several things happen naturally following hurricanes and heavy rains. The ways in which disease can move all of a sudden changes. All right. The barriers that were normally there before gets removed. So flooding opens the floodgate. Things that were in one place move to another place. The power cut, things that we could freeze and keep in a state of dormancy, all of a sudden reactivate. We're crowded or we're disconnected, so we can't treat our common diseases like hypertension and diabetes. Not to mention, there are several vulnerable populations that become exposed to things that they wouldn't normally be exposed to, our babies or pregnant women, the elderly, the immunocompromised, and of course, people with chronic illnesses who would never, never ever seem as dangerous We always say our food can be our medicine, our slowest poison, but now our food seems to be have a potential to be a very early poisonous source. The quality of our water that we are able to drink, because water becomes so turbulent, and even if it goes through the treatment system, the chance of it coming out in a state that is potable and usable is less likely. We have more crowding, whether in our homes because we are housing more people, or in shelters because that's where people have to stay. You guys mentioned the emotional issues that we're worried about. And what is big for us is that there's this thing called contagion, because just like our ears is open to the world, we can't close our ears off. We have to, anything that comes around us as sound we hear. The same thing goes for our emotional network. Emotions are contagious, right? So fright, anxiety, fear, so forth. You know, if somebody feels fear, we all of a sudden just feel it, right? The same thing with behaviors. Behaviors are contagious. We see other people doing these things, so we just follow them. And injuries, physical injuries tend to be quite common as well. And then there's this whole idea of zoonosis, transmission of diseases from animals and transmission of diseases from other human beings. Really becomes a challenge because our public health resources, our economic resources are stretched. We have multinational respondents and responders that are bringing in new vectors and organisms into our space. And of course, we are now have to be on the high alert, just like COVID-19 took us by surprise. We can't be taken by surprise because we know that these things are just natural. They way in which the barriers that used to keep things at bay, they're no longer there, right? And because they're no longer there, because of the power cuts, because of the flooding, the dampness, the disconnections, then we have to now be on high alert for these things. And so being on high alert, we have to think of the places that they may show up, right? And of course, what tends to come to mind first are, different parts of our body, the respiratory system, our skin, hair and nails, our gut, our muscles and joints, our minds, and of course the other systems like our brains. But what are the things that are affecting these areas? Somebody tell me. Let me hear my little um good biology student who has been reading all sort of e-medicine and the different medical resources as they prepare themselves for what is coming. Those are the places that we tend to see them, but where are they coming from? Where are these diseases coming from? The barriers are broken, and so we have so much more risk with the vulnerable population and so, but where are they coming from? And this is an important one, because when you start to think about where they're coming from, then the prevention and treatment becomes so much easier. So give me an idea, everybody, quick. See, water sources. I love that, Cheryl. Where are they coming from? Put on the screen because we have to give Dr. Kelly some time, right? So they come from the air, they come from the water, they come from the food, they come from vectors like mosquitoes, rodents, ticks, flies. They come from the environment, contaminated services. They come from other people by direct contact or indirect spread, right? Because of their behaviors. They actually come because of disruptions to the access point. So availability and access creates a worsening of conditions, and of course, our own natural behaviors. We have high risk lifestyle, poor hygiene, and low self care. And so, what we find is that these sources tend to drive these illnesses. And as you think about the sources, where they're coming from, the air, the water, the food, the vectors, the environment, the people, the access issues, and our behaviors, then it can help us to start to think about how can we prevent and how can we treat, right? And so we'd want you to think about what are some of the things that you're actively fighting off. And I'm sure for some of you, that you drop in the chat, what are some of the ways that you're actively fighting off some of these infections right now, or some of these disease risk right now? What are some of the active ways? I see my bright scholar Davia airborne, right? And of course, resilient leads in mosquito. What are some of the things that you're doing right now to fight these things off? How are you how are you getting past them and not allowing them to get into your homes and families? But in the chat, quick, 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 quick. I can't take away any more time from Dr. Kelly. What are some of the ways you're armoring yourselves to not be affected by these airborne, waterborne, vector-borne, behavior-borne, access-related, surface-based, in person to person repellents? Somebody's storing up your Darlene, terming Darlene is stocking up on her repellents. What else you stocking up on? Come on, guys, drop in chat quick, quick, quick for me. Vitamins. I know I was going to say vitamins, and I know I could have guessed I'd have seen it from Davia, right? These are vitamins and minerals. And this is what we normally do, right? But of course, interestingly, I mean, while these things help to boost our immune system, it's really dependent on the disease itself whether it will have, much of a difference. Because as I said, it is how we look at the sources that makes a difference. So our dengue and our bloodborne pathogens, malaria and otherwise, of course, it's gonna take those mosquito repellents, it's gonna take cleaning the environment, the old tires and so forth. When we think of the respiratory diseases, it's about the things like our face masks, right? How do we block things getting into our respiratory tract, right? We stay away from people who have respiratory illnesses, right? And so we find that the symptoms doesn't come across. The skin condition, ensure that in our medicine chest, we have those creams that we can put on and we'll be careful of what we touch and how we touch them, have on our gloves if we're going into a contaminated zone, things that affect our brain. Once we see the early signs of headaches and so forth, then we start to take action, right? When it comes to the gastrointestinal system, be ensure that we look at the food and our water and how we prepare it. Drop, as we hear those 1 to 2 drops of water per gallon, sorry, per gallon of water, or boil the water, right? To ensure our food is properly cooked. Worms and crawling pathogens, lava migrants, which leaves from the messy water. We wear proper shoes to block these worms or properly prepare our foods. In terms of the metabolic or the NCDs, we ensure that we can access the medications, we can get them through our families if the pharmacists around us don't have them. And of course, we're in a whole new social pattern together, right? And so we still have to think about sexually transmitted diseases, UTIs, urogenital diseases. Reproduction tend to go up in these times as we look for different ways to escape the challenges that we have to deal with. And of course, outside of drugs, we look at sexual behaviors and all sort of things. So we have to protect ourselves, right? We have to know how these things transmit from one person to the next. And in so doing, we prevent the common diseases from really wreaking a havoc on us. Hopefully, this picture reminds you of the COVID-19 reminders that we got, right? Be responsible, be wise, sanitize, be smart, stay apart if someone is exhibiting the signs of a disease, and be caring with others. Share what you know, right? So always travel with your sanitizer. Always travel with, if you're going into disaster zone, make sure you have water resistant shoes. Make sure you have your own water and food supplies, right? Don't just go out and eat anything and everything when you're going out in those zones. Your mosquito repellent, your gloves, your face mask, long sleeve clothing to prevent insects from biting you. Be vaccinated if you're in a high risk group, like if you're over 60 or if you're at risk for cuts and bruises, ensure you're vaccinated for tetanus because you need to be vaccinated once every 5 years, right? Have your first aid kit. So these are some very good prevention strategies that you can do to prevent. In terms of treatment, I put 6 different ways here for you. I think the first stands out to be the most important, conservative, your lifestyle. They say that you can't pour out what you don't pour in. And so conservative management is about you pouring into yourself. eating right, exercise, sleeping well, having good caring connections, living a good lifestyle, right? I think that's where it starts in terms of treatment. Then, of course, get help from the professionals. And that professional may be a physical health professional or a mental health professional. Reduce your exposure to vectors, reduce your exposure to cleaning, sanitizing, sterilizing, wearing protective equipment. And of course, have yourself home ready. Have a good first aid kit at home. Have good alternatives if you can't get access to the traditional means, right? And of course, lower your high risk behaviors. Hand washing is important. If sex is there, make sure it's safe. And of course, be careful with your food preparation. A reminder again about vaccination. It has saved more lives than any medications can save. So whether it's your tetanus, your flu shots, or any other immunocompromised group you may be in, ensure you get your vaccines, right? You'll get this slide which tells you some good things to have in your first aid kit, things for wound care, over-the-counter items, some little equipments and devices, and things for your personal needs. You'll get this when you get the slides, and you cross-check them against your home first aid kit to ensure you have good stuff in the first aid kit. Okay, so you've prevented, you know how to get treated, but of course, when do you go, right? And of course, there are several different ways to know depending on the place that's affected. So it might be a general thing and you're feeling weak, you're feeling fever, unusual headache, or it might be a respiratory thing, you're feeling a cough, or a skin thing, changing color, yellowing, redness, pain, or stomach, the stool change, or the mind, persistent negative states, or the brain, numbness. Depending on which system in the body is affected, if it's something that is lasting longer than it makes sense for you, and when I say makes sense for you, in that, this is something that should have gone away already, right? And so I tell anybody, err on the side of caution. If by 2 days what your experience has gone away, it's time to call somebody like myself or Dr. Kelly, all right? And if it's severe by day one, call for help. So again, it comes back around. The treatment follows the places that we're seeing the symptoms, whether the respiratory, the skin, the gastrointestinal, or otherwise. And of course, the ways in which we can get them leads to the way we prevent them. So we prevent airborne by either avoidance or creating a barrier, the way we look about our water, the way in which we get rid of vectors like mosquitoes, ticks, flies, so forth, the way we sanitize our environment, the way in which we keep be smart and stay apart from the persons who are affected by certain conditions, right? And then of course, looking at ensuring that we have access to the medications we need and we practice good behaviors. I would give you this quiz, but I'll say the first person who emails me the response to this quiz, what does this person have and what action should they take? When you get the slides, the first person who emails me the answer, I have a prize for you. All right. So, final takeaway. In hurricanes and heavy rains, the usual barriers that prevents disease from spreading gets broken. And so we need to be very mindful of our water, our food, vectors, the way in which we clean. We pay attention to the vulnerable population, our mental health, and of course, our community as a whole as we support each other. Get to know the spaces that you can go very quickly for help. And of course, we'll share some resources with you, whether in the future sessions or when you get the slides, we leave some resources with you that you can use. Our EAP is always available. Our mobile app is always available. So thank you for your time. And I jump over to allow Dr. Kelly to take you through psychological first aid. By the way, if there's any quick questions, please drop them in the chat. If that was a little bit quick for you, worry not. You're going to get the slides so that you can always go back through with your team. So any quick questions, please drop them in the chat as I allow Cheryl to bring up Dr. Kelly.
Thank you so much, Dr. Thompson, for a very enlightening presentation. It's very useful at this time, especially with so many of our support system teams and organizations heading down to the West. All of the tips and the advice that you have shared is so timely because it's important that we take the necessary precautions. And I'm sure many of us here will be taking heed. And I like that you connected it with the things that we had to do during COVID. So it's pretty much using the same precautions at this time.
Very similar.
Do we have any questions for Dr. Thompson that he could quickly respond to? Just type it quickly in the chat.
Good afternoon. Oh, sorry.
Sure. Go ahead. Go ahead, Priscilla.
All right. Good afternoon, Dr. Thompson. I was wondering how I didn't hear you mention typhoid. I'm asking because when they had the outbreak in Westmoreland years ago, I don't remember if it was after Hurricane Gilbert, but is it that we are no longer it's no longer a threat?
Every single disease is on the table right now because we have people coming from all across the globe coming into Jamaica right now. And anyone can bring in a brand new disease, and any incubating disease that has been in the remote spaces, whether being held in an animal or otherwise, can come out because those barriers are now broken and wide open. And so, because hurricanes rip apart barriers, even though they create some barriers, they rip apart the usual barriers. So whether it's typhoid, whether it's staph strep, you name it, it's all fair game, and this is why we have to be very vigilant and ensure that as our health system becomes stretched, as our economic system becomes stretched, that we are the heroes that are paying attention to what is happening and doing the things to prevent the spread to us and our families, and in so doing, take care of others in careful ways.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you also, Ms. Chambers. All right, so we're going to once again quickly introduce Dr. Grace Kelly, who will be presenting on psychological first aid and enabling resilience. And these are critical skills to have in times of disaster and tough life moments. Dr. Kelly, welcome. We're happy to have you here, and I'm sure many of us are anxiously waiting to hear how you're going to help us to feed our minds and deal with our mental stresses. So over to you. Your audio is still on mute. Dr. Kelly, you're on mute.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I am sure you have what we call a belly full from Dr. Thompson. And so today we are going to continue with the conversation. And it's important that we appreciate the fact that these skills and the information that is being shared is not something that it is just what it is. We are sharing some tips with you. We will not be able to go through the full gamut of training in psychological first aid, but our intention is to ensure that when you leave here, you'll have at least few tips that you can utilize. So let me briefly get to this and give you may I be enabled to share? And while we are doing that, while I'm getting access to share, I just want to ask persons to share with us one thing for which you're absolutely grateful since the hurricane. Any one thing, you could type it, you could open your mic and say it. One thing, and you have a condition. No one will say I'm grateful for life because we are all alive and well, and we are grateful for that. All right, please help me when the chat is populated, or if someone has their hand up, Evelyn. Cheryl, you want to say something?
No, go ahead, go ahead. No one has indicated as yet. We ask
What do we know?
for you to actively participate.
All right, I'm not
Okay.
yet able to share some. I'm gonna just go with.
Just a moment, please. Can the team? Okay.
All right, there are a few things I want to bring to our minds as we wait. We use
Can you
every
try again to
opportunity.
share? Can you try again?
I'm
Are
gonna
you-
try now. Yes, Cheryl, I'm able to.
Okay, fantastic.
All righty.
Michelle Palmer shared roof over my head, Dr. Kelly.
Wonderful, wonderful. And isn't that interesting? A roof over my head. It's something to see, to behold what's happening in the West. And I don't have to even try to recapture that, neither in picture nor even talking about it. So thank you for sharing that. Because many of us, like this picture here in Williamsfield, I passed by there a few days before that when the water was just a little trickling around the person's house. And by now, they may be fully underwater. So they don't have a roof. We went through to St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland, and I saw where the marl and the dirt and the debris just came down and covered some houses, at least one. And there are some persons, they are showing you where the house is or was, and there is nothing there. So we are grateful. As we move forward though, what is it that we will do? I want you to look at the picture here. Well, one should have waited, but apparently I never cued it enough. But to the left, or maybe to your right, when you look at that picture, what do you see? And we're going to be very quick about this. And please, even though we are online, I'd like for this to be extremely interactive. Engage your mind, engage your thoughts. Let's do this together. What do you see to the left? Not the fingerprint. Anybody wants to tell me what they see? If you have seen this before, don't answer right now. Anyone who's never seen this picture, what is it that you're seeing? All right, 10 seconds are gone. I give you 2 more seconds to respond. Is there a response in the chat?
Yes, so far we're seeing resilient Lilith, woman, and from Michelle Palmer, woman in a fur coat.
All right, so woman in a fur coat. Is it that Lilith would be referring to a young person, resilient, or is it the same old lady? Woman in a fur coat. All right.
Yes, she responded yes, young woman.
Okay. All right. So in the interest of time, I will not deliberate too much. But one person sees a young lady and another sees a woman, older woman in a fur coat. On this picture, there are 2 faces, a young lady and an old woman. And just to get it over, the necklace of the young lady is the mouth of the old woman. The jaw and the chin of the young lady is the nostril, the nose of the old woman. And the young lady's ear and eye, right here and left eye, are the eyes of the old lady. So it depends on who is looking. What has been your exposure? Would you have seen this before? And also, what's your experience that would have made you see this lovely young lady and the adult? So I would not deliberate on that. But essentially, what we want to point out here is that everybody sees things differently, and everyone who has experienced Melissa, every single person, no matter how the story sounds similar, they are not the same. And like our thumbprint, we experience life differently, and trauma such as this leaves us in a space where we become our unique self, and our patterns, like the pattern of our fingerprint, our pattern, our response, our behavior is going to be unique, even though they may be similar. So why are we doing or talking about psychological first aid? Why does it matter? PFA offers human support, support that's practical and that's helpful after a crisis. So it must be practical and it must be what? Helpful. It offers an opportunity where professionals are able to look at the situation and we would say normalize what's happening. Normalizing, as it says, normal reaction to, abnormal events. We are looking at it from that perspective, but I'm saying normalizing it to let people know that what you are feeling, what you're experiencing is normal and natural, okay? And our goal is not to diagnose when we are doing psychological first aid. It is not to fix things. We are there to provide safety, to ensure that the people are safe, to ensure that they are comfortable, ensure that they are stable, and you ensure that they are able to make connections and provide hope. Because healing happens in a community, and helping them to make connection is very, very important. The core principles of psychological first aid, we have many different models, but I've chosen to share with you the RAPID model this afternoon. RAPID, when you enter in the space, those of you who are here who are practitioners, most of you may know this, but if you're laypersons going in to assist, you ensure that you build rapport. How are you? Well, we are being encouraged not even to ask that question. Find a different way to identify something about the person that grabs your attention. And even if it doesn't grab your attention, identify something that would allow the person to have a mental shift. So they look depressed, shocked, frightened, and you look for the glare of a smile and probably say to them, the beauty of your smile is waiting to be exploded. And you never know, they might just smile because they inside they are angry, they are frustrated, they are stressed. But you don't want to focus on that. Build a rapport. What you're doing also is to make them appreciate that they can trust you and it's safe to talk with you or to interact with you. And listen more than speaking. So you listen to what they are saying. And if you can, you interact with them. And then you may reflect some of what they say so they appreciate that you are hearing. Am I hearing you say that on the night of the hurricane, your baby was not with you? And that is something of significance to them. So they were like, oh, she heard me or he heard me. Assess the need. What is it that they need? Is it that they need a safe place to go? Is it that they need a blanket? Is it that they need a bottle of water? Is it that they may need something to eat? Is it that they may need to talk with someone? Because we have heard stories. I've been going out with some of my colleagues and different groups, and going out exposes me to the reality. And I told people, I said, if you don't have the Constitution, don't go. But the bottom line is no picture, no video can accurately help you to appreciate what's happening until you see what's happening out there. So that's the need. Would you believe that in one situation, the need assessment was done and what the community needed. The community needed, I wanted to hear me, not an individual. What the community clamored for was gas, gasoline, and dog food. And somebody might be like, what? Gasoline and dog food? To do what? Here is their story. They needed the gasoline to help cut down the tree, move the debris, so it doesn't affect people passing or getting to their loved one, or, you know, they can't wait on government, so they want to do that. And the dog food was for the dogs who are watching, the watchdog, who are in the business places and at homes that the thieves are targeting. Can you imagine? Some person said, they're taking all this food. We have food. I saw one setting where we were when the food truck came. Patties to stone dog, they would say. Enough that people were taking them in boxes rather than getting few. Patties and apples and all of that. And there are people saying they are bringing clothes, they are bringing food. And nobody even stops to say, how are you? So that's why we are here supporting you to have an appreciation of what's needed when you go out. Prioritize the need. So whatever they need, prioritize. Decide which is most important for this category of persons. And then intervene. Whatever it is, just be calm, be present, and do what is necessary to get that person some assistance. And afterwards, you look at now the next step. What will we do going forward? And if at any time you have any question, please indicate while in the chat, and you will be identified. If it is something that can stay until I'm finished with at least 10 minutes, then we will do that, and then we have the communication continue. Common reaction to situations like this. And these are normal response. You have shock, confusion, exhaustion, fear, irritability. Sometimes there is panic attack, disorientation, there's withdrawal, and even suicidal thoughts. Those are common reactions to crisis and disaster, such as what we have gone through. Here are a few others. Feeling mentally foggy or confused, I may have said disorientation, similar to thinking the storm has happened again or is happening again because they're having flashbacks. So the children, adults may jump out of their sleep and they are hearing and seeing as if it was right there happening all over. Being overly alert and jumpy could be from the sound, the wailing and all of that that they would have heard. Unexpected crying and laughter. Trouble sleeping or oversleeping. For some people, they have loss of appetite or overeating. For me, I say they start eating one meal a day. So they get up in the morning and they start eating. Anybody guilty? And they don't stop eating until they go to their bed. And even when they are in their beds, they want to get up and go find something to eat. One meal a day. And then others are on seafood diet. Anything they see, they eat. They just go after food. And some, they really don't know what to eat. The house is still, for some who may not have been in the devastation in the West, but their family members are there and the house is full with food and they can't eat it. And this sometimes comes as a result. It's not just the loss of appetite, but there's something we call survivor's guilt. Write that in the chat. survivor's guilt. Anybody here feeling that? Where you're thinking, hey, my family or these people have no food to eat and I have all the food. Why should I eat? Or why should I have been the one who is spared from what's happening? So the survivor's guilt. So we have to watch out for that as we provide support for others. Wanting to withdraw from others is a very common reaction and difficulty making simple decision. We hear of persons who just sit there in the rubble with all kind of dead animal and all kind of things around them, and they can't move. They become disabled, as it were. I hear people ask, and they ask me, what do you do, Dr. Kelly, when you come to me can't bother moment? Or when you don't know what to do or what to say? When you get into this space and you're interacting with people, here are some things you shouldn't say. At least you survive. No. You don't understand what's happening inside. Remember, I told you, you can't understand anybody else's feeling, even if you were in the same situation, because that comes in like your thumbprint. Say something like, I'm so sorry you're going through this. How can I be of support to you? But others had it worse than you. No. Validate their feeling and said, your feelings are valid, and that was difficult and real. Or this is a difficult moment for you. It must be a difficult moment for you, however you want to phrase it. But you should be over it by now. It's 3 weeks. Wow. No. Healing takes time. Take the time you need to heal. Everything happened for a reason. While we can say that 10 years or 5 years or maybe 6 months down the road, it isn't something that someone wants to hear when they're just going through the trauma. Okay? So I'm here with you as you process this. People are saying, don't cry. Don't behave in some cases similar to when you have death, as if you have no hope. Put your hand on their shoulder. It's okay to feel emotional. You are safe right here. And even if you don't voice it, let them feel that that's what you're saying, okay? You can replace what you lost. What? Tell me, how am I going to replace? You know, I paused to tell a story, and I don't want to stop to tell too many stories because I don't want to take up too much time with stories. But I remember providing PFA in Turks and Caicos. And we gave the children clay to work with and Play-Doh to work with. And this young lady makes something long, and you know how you make your long dumplings and your little wingy dumplings to put in your soup. But she made it and then she connected it so she had a round thing. And when we were finished, the instruction was given that the children will go and then we take up the stuff. She didn't move immediately, but the person got to her and picked up her Play-Doh and she threw a tantrum. Nobody could understand it. And she bawled, and she almost hyperventilated. And when we process it, what happened is that she had lost her grandmother a few months before. And the only thing she had left that her grandmother gave to her that she thought was valuable was a necklace. And for her, that was her necklace that somebody took away. So it's like she would have lost her grandmother and should have lost the necklace again. The storm came, blew down the house. So, I mean, they lost their stuff, so she didn't have it. So we have to be mindful of how we approach things. And the final two, calm down. No, help them say, take your time. I'm right here. Sit with them, walk with them, let them deep breathe, whatever. Stay strong. No, it's okay not to be okay right now. You don't have to be strong for everyone. You are allowed to feel what you feel. I'm going to pause. Any one person, has anything that I've said so far resonated with you? And is there something that you can take away, even if I don't get to continue beyond this? I have a few more to share. But are you benefiting from this conversation? Put in the chat, yes, thumbs up, whatever. And tell me what the reactions are, my dear. Open your mic, say something. All right, so it means therefore I can pause because nobody's hearing me.
Yes, they're hearing you. I'm just waiting to see if anybody has put anything in the chat.
Okay, we
All
have
right.
to do this check-in.
All right, Dr. Kelly, I'd like to share. I think the most
Yes.
profound thing that you have, for me personally, is sharing what to say versus what not to say. I think there's a popular phrase that people have been using, especially some of us in Kingston, having been the survivors of what has happened, called survivor's guilt. And I think when we interact with those who have been completely devastated, it is such a difficult thing to know what is the right thing to say, and not just revert to an automatic, well, at least you survived, be thankful for life, which can be insensitive when you think that you're trying to be helpful. So I think the what not to say versus what to say, what to say versus what not to say is such a useful tool. And I think
Thank you.
Listening, when you share the acronym for RAPID, I think what comes out for me is people want to vent, people just want you to listen. They know that you're not able to fix their problem. And it's such a skill that we lack so often, wanting to jump in and give advice. And the example you gave about the community who wanted the dog food and the gas. Gas is a fitting example. So that's my contribution.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yes.
I see a hand up.
Okay.
In fact, it's one of our directors, Melissa Anderson, who is our HRMAJ director for PR. Melissa, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. I could say basically ditto at this point because you captured a lot of my sentiments. It resonated with me, the what not to say, because I know I have been guilty of saying, at least you have life, because I have the philosophy that things can be replaced, life cannot. But perhaps I'm saying it through the lens that I've never lost anything so at that magnitude, or maybe with, sentimental attachment as the story you gave with that little girl. So I'm just speaking, philosophically surface, but really having not gone through the experience. So I think I will correct that because I have been saying that quite a bit because I feel the fact that you're here means you have hope, but not recognizing how, profound the loss has been. Dr. Kelly,
Thank
not
you.
sure if you'll get to it in your presentation, but hopefully you can maybe touch on it and give us some advice, because I personally also have been going out and it takes a toll. How do you help yourself?
I'm getting to that in the next phase.
Okay, perfect.
Get into that in the next phase.
Dr. Kelly, there is one more hand up that I'd like you to give an opportunity. Darlene Jones has joined us from the very start of the webinar, and earlier before you joined, she shared that she's from Black River and she has lost her roof and has been severely affected. Darlene, I'm so happy that you stuck around with us. Please go ahead and open your mic to share.
Right. Thank you so much. It's my family home actually that I lost. My sister is up here with me now, but what resonated with me and what I need to be a lot more mindful of, like in clearing the house, because everything is waterlogged and, clearing things out, that being mindful of throwing things away that means a lot to people. I'm thinking that my sister would be looking at me when I take something and throw away. And what you mentioned about them, it's like grieving, it's grief.
It
It's like
is.
death. It's like, you
Mm,
know, just to be more mindful, because I would say, oh, you need this anyway, you know, instead
mhm,
of saying, you know, being more sensitive to
mhm,
so that's what I'm taking away, being a lot more sensitive. I'm going through grief as well, and she's going through
mhm,
grief, but being
mhm.
mindful of her grief because most of the things would be hers because she lived there. I live in
Right,
Kingston now. And so
right.
family home, she would be a
Mhm.
lot more attached
True.
to the things that are there. So just to be
Mhm.
more mindful of that.
I appreciate everyone, and I greatly appreciate, Darlene, you being in the situation, so closely connected with what's happening. Now, I should say to you, if someone said it to you who is in the situation that at least I have life and I can bounce back, then you validate them and then you help them to have an appreciation for, all right, let me use this one, at least you survived. So if they say, at least I am happy that I survived, you could say, I am happy you mentioned that, but I need you to understand that I am so with you in this moment, and in whatever way I can support you, I will. You see the difference when they mention it, it's from their perspective. And if they said, I have to be strong for everyone, acknowledge them, validate them, and say to them right now, it's okay not to be strong for everyone. And it's okay not to feel okay. You're allowed to experience your feeling. All right? So that some persons who do not know that it's okay to breathe and relax and having to be responsible for everyone, they know that they have that option. All right, for the rest of the slides, they are a little wordy and so on, but I do that too while I'm explaining some things that, you know, somebody who is visual can read. I heard Doc did an absolutely wonderful breathing and centering, grounding exercise early, so I don't need to go back through that. Except him to say when you feel anxious, when you feel challenged, you pause, you take a deep breath in. You can use the 478 or you can use 6, whichever numbering you want to use. But for me, I like the 4-4-4. So you take a breath in sips, little bit. So this is part of my answer to, was it Cheryl who asked, not Cheryl, Melissa, I hope I'm not mixing the name up, who asked earlier. This is one thing you can do. So you breathe in, 2, 3, 4. And as I go through, I need you to follow me and do the action. So you breathe in 4 sips of breath, you hold it for 4 seconds, and then you let it go. In, hold, out. When you let it go, empty your lung as if it feels like your navel is touching your spine, because when that does that, it activates the adrenaline and what we call the happy hormone, which regulates the system. Very necessary. Cognitive reframing. You change the negative and interpret them through hope. So a situation like that, somebody says, I lost everything. It's okay to say, I survived and I can rebuild. But guess what? Not the day after. Are you with me? After they are settled and they get at the point where they can appreciate the statement, you do the reinterpretation for them so they reframe. All right. The next, the narrative therapy journal. Let them write their story, as gruesome as it is. And Darlene, what you mentioned about persons mindful about taking things that are precious. Ask sister or brother or mother or daughter, whomever, is it okay to part with this? But that's not about the narrative therapy, but I came here and want to address it here because you can have the person write everything, the gruesome detail. This is when counselors are allowed to facilitate that. In some settings, you don't need the gruesome detail to be able to support them through their pain. But you let them write it. Afterwards, you let them rewrite it, and they keep rewriting. And every time they write, you facilitate them writing something that's different so that when they are finished with the last journal entry or whatever they use, whether gratitude, whatever journaling they use, they are writing from a healed perspective rather from the hurt and the harm. Got it? And in this case, why I mentioned about the precious things, you can have them write about what it felt like to have had the rose that their parents planted and they've lost it. There is one lady who, luckily she ran back for the urn with her husband's ash before she left the area, because the first thing her children asked who are overseas, did you get my daddy? To them, it's their daddy. We spoke about this, about the survivor's guilt. Another thing to be aware of is compassion fatigue, where you are giving compassion, you are supporting persons emotionally, and then you become drained. Help them to find, these are some things you can do, the community connection, make connection, help them to get back in circles where they don't have to be isolated. The physical activities and energy, you redirect your energy. So instead of sitting and worrying about, you go volunteer, cleaning up, all that you can do to use your physical energy. And then you can also do exercises. Nowadays, when I'm doing intervention, even like this, if I had the opportunity to stand up, and I never to stand up and to let you do thing in your space, we do that because it's important. Emotionally labeling and validation, it's important. How are you feeling? Don't ask them that if you don't have time. What happened? You may ask that, but be careful. But the feelings, no, let them label the feeling. So they say they are angry, they're afraid. And let me ask you, one or two of you, write in the chat, what feeling did you experience during the hurricane? And even now, what are you feeling? When you name the emotion, it reduces the intensity of it. So put in the chat what you're feeling or what you have felt. It's okay. And even as we continue, keep writing there. Make sure that you're spiritually anchored for those of us who have our connection with God. Because as I tell you, if you don't have the Constitution, don't go. Wait until they do some more work, because it has been bad. All right? So be grounded in your beliefs and so on. Controlling exposure to control exposure and safe expression. Gradually revisit the traumatic experience through art, storytelling, like I talked about the narrative therapy or group therapy. It's okay to do that. Mindful media and sensory detox. I'm sure is that Melissa could appreciate this and share, or even she could be the one presenting on this aspect. Don't watch all of the YouTube that you see. And even normally I would have some pictures and so on of the incident. I've stopped doing that because what you see, you're feeding your mind. So if you notice so far, it's only one picture I use just to get us started. Just by watching, you are filling your mind, and you have to be detoxing yourself from some of those things. Post-traumatic growth planning. What are you going to how are you transforming this pain into passion and purpose? What will you do? And here are some PQ reps, and that's what additional thing I'm going to end with some more practical stuff. So the first one, mindful breathing rep, which you have done. You notice how many times we talk about breathing, inhaling and exhaling? It's a powerhouse. If you learn that, you have over 50% of what you need in order to be centered and calm when you feel frustrated. And again, as I said, there are people asking that, what do we do when we come to that moment when we don't feel like doing anything? And I usually say to them, do nothing, just relax. Sensory awareness rep, engage the senses. So right now, from where you are, look around the room that you're in and identify four things that you can see now that you never saw until I asked you to look around. For me, when I came in here on my desk, I found a $2,000 bill. I'm like, where that came from? I don't know when I brought it in here, but I know I see it there. I'm seeing a flask here. It looks like castor oil. I never saw that when I just came in here. You just distract yourself from what's getting you depressed. So you look for four things. Then 3 things that you can hear, and different numbers are on the screen, but I'm just saying you can vary that. What can you hear now that you were not hearing before? Are you smelling something? Maybe a perfume or somebody cooking or the smoke on the outside? I don't know. And use that to anchor yourself and be mindful and be present in the moment. Don't get carried away by the external. And last night I was coming home from Kingston and I was reflecting on my day, and I remember something that someone said about them being concerned about persons in Westmoreland. And having gone to Westmoreland, I could identify and appreciate what they were saying. And my mind just went on that. And immediately I recognized, oops, I'm swerving on the highway. And I just had to shift focus, turn up the radio, blasting it, and turn on the AC, turn down the AC so it goes as cold as it could, just to keep me focused coming in. So you may not have that in Black River, in St. James. You have it in your car, but you may not have it in your house. But I'm saying just find something different to focus on, or that will take your attention from what's happening. After I'm finished with the rest, I will pause again. Touch or texture rep. What you're gonna do, watch me now. Hope you can see me. Put your and Cheryl, help me demonstrate some of these things. So you use your pointed finger and your thumb, and just as if you're testing the texture of something, but what you're doing, you're breathing and you're feeling the ridges on your finger. Just feel how soothing that is, and how great a God who could create you in such a way that nobody can replicate your fingerprint. Enjoy the warmth and move from your pinky finger up to your pointed finger, just do that. All right, I'm moving to another one. Put your hand in the prayer position and just hold it for a few seconds. Breathe deeply. And you can put your hands on your leg or below, but I'm holding them up now because you need to see. Just feel the warmth in your hand. Then keep your left hand steady and caress the left hand with the right down to the wrist, and then up again. And you could repeat this 5-7 times, and you change the hand and you do that. So these are some simple things we call PQ reps that you can do. The other thing is body scan. Just imagine right now, your eyes are in your body and you're looking through and you're identifying where your pain points are, because trauma and pain lodge somewhere in your body. While it is like a QR code that lodge in your subconsciousness, your subconscious mind, and any trigger, anything that you see, smell, touch that looks like what you've experienced, it brings you right back there. So just scan your body, see where you have this tension, and do some movements, whatever it is, do some movements to get it out. So you turn your head around. If it's in your neck, you shove your shoulder front, back, front, sideways, up, down, twist in the chair. If it's in your back, move your hands like this, stamp your feet, squeeze, whatever it is that you have to do. The compassion visualization rep. And I heard one of what Doc did earlier was like that you send the positive vibes to somebody you care about. So I don't want to repeat that. Gratitude rep. Identify 3 things you're thankful for at this moment. Write them down and repeat them later. And it's always good to do 3 in the mornings. In the evening, you check off and you do another 3 before you go to bed. It's a good practice to have. Purpose anchor. You can repeat some thoughts, quotation, or Bible statement that suggests that you're living in your purpose and God is with you, whatever it is. This one, is God is my refuge and my strength. Whatever it is, it helps you to be anchored and for you to be stable. The mental push-up, similar to what we've been doing, you pause, notice when your thoughts are spiraling to fear or judgment, you label it, because if it is not identified and owned, it cannot be treated. You label it, and then you shift the focus, do something, whether the breathing, the touching, the smelling, do that for 10 to 30 minutes. You repeat that several times until the intensity of the emotion that you're feeling is reduced. And then you ask, what's the gift or opportunity here? Or how can I respond with empathy and wisdom? So now that we have seen what the others have experienced, we may have experienced it. How can I use that now to inform how I move forward? There are some other things that I'm skipping over because I want to get to these few, maybe about 3 more slides. Normalize the reaction. Whatever you do, let people know that, hey, it's okay to feel the way you're feeling. It's okay to cry. It's okay to do what you're doing. All right, but not anything that's going to harm themselves or harm anyone. Acknowledge their feeling. Allow the individual to express their feeling. Let them talk. It's the first time they're going to have verbal diarrhea, and you don't give them no wipes. You just let them talk. Let them talk. Let them talk. No judgment, okay? Then promote self-care, because if you don't, you can't give what you don't have, okay? And you have to be okay. You don't have to be okay to help, but you need to take care of your health so that you are in a better position to help someone, okay? Connect to resources. Share with them how they can, where they can get assistance, encourage self-expression through art, drawing, writing, music, all of that. Yesterday, I was in a company with lots of people, adults, and they enjoy using the crayon and the paper to draw the before and after, how they felt about Melissa. There is something here I thought I would end with. The 3 C's. When you are feeling overwhelmed and it's as if you have to take care of the world and blaming yourself. Before I get to what's on the screen, you ask, did I cause what happened? And if it is no, you move on. Could I change what happened? No, you move on. Could you control what happened? No, you move on. And use the energy, direct the energy into something positive to help the people. What do I have control over? You don't have control over the past. You can't control what happened. The future, you don't know what's going to happen with the areas that have been devastated. Black River will never be the same. The actions of others, you can't control the ones who decide to go in and steal what is left of some people's possession. The opinion of others, you can't control whether or not people think that you're too clingy to the things that are of value. You can't. You're not in control of what happens around you, and you're not in control about what people think about you. The outcome of your effort, remember, we are going in and we are helping and we are supporting, but we can't control the outcome of that. We can only do and empower and help them to become the hero as we use the characteristics of the hero in us, as Doc spoke about early. You can't control how others take care of themselves, but you can support as best as you can. Here's what you can control: your boundaries. So set the boundaries. If you can't manage, don't go. If you can't manage to hear the story, don't listen to them, but be respectful of the people, okay? Your thoughts and your action, you are in control of that. You feed garbage in, garbage out. Doc spoke something about that earlier. He didn't use garbage, but I heard his narrative. The goals that you set. So you have a goal. Or some people had goals even in the trauma, what's happening. There are some things, the days for me, they end. My days turn into minutes, and my weeks are in hours, and my months have become less than weeks now in responding to crises. But guess what? I know that I am going to work with the things that will fulfill the goal that I set in, and one of the goals is to empower others to become better able to manage their circumstances so they could thrive amidst chaos. All right? So I don't know what the outcome of that gonna be in all sense, but I have control over the goals I set. What you give your energy to, yes. What can you give your energy to? Being in the background to support a team, or being the front line? How you speak to yourself, because you are going to ask God to use the forces of His Spirit in the universe to bring things together to fulfill His plan for your life. You're going to speak positive thing over yourself. And that's another thing that you can do. I am worthy. I deserve to be cared for, to be appreciated, to be loved. I am, and you put the positives. And the last one is how you handle challenges. I hope that this afternoon we would have been able to give you good tips and things that could help you to manage your challenges. In addition to the line, the information that comes with your email, and that Doc may have shared earlier, we want you to understand that what we do as first responders, and you know, psychological first aid, if you're going to be utilizing that, if you're trained to do it, or if you just want to be there to support the people, here is the simplest way I could say. And if this is all I said before, it should be meaningful. You look, you see what's happening, you listen to appreciate what's happening, and you link them to the resources. Here are some contacts. If you haven't yet done so, you can take a screenshot, but Doc promised that you'll get the slides. So we will put them together so you can have that. And all I'm saying to you today is, friends, I'd like for you to know whatever we have done today is to empower you so that you know you can be the hero and you can still make others heroes. So you replicate yourself and empower others to thrive amidst chaos. Take time out to take care of yourself. Take time to appreciate what's happening around you and provide the support they need. Take time out to do all the right thing, but more so, take time out before time takes you out. Back over to you, team.
Dr. Kelly, thank you so much. These are more than just tips. They were excellent advice for your presentation, psychological
first aid.
Right. I think you provided us with mental and emotional therapy. I think everyone here can attest to that. If you're still here with us, just use the reaction button to share your feelings, your thoughts about the presentation with our presenters. Please use the reaction button, a thumbs up, a love, a clap, just to show your appreciation for the time that Dr. Kelly and Dr. Thompson have taken to really give us this therapy. I really feel personally that for the first time since the hurricane, have been able to take a moment to really get some guidance. For Dr. Thompson, you provided us personal and environmental safety and prevention tips and lots of resources. I'm sure most of us are anxious and looking forward to getting the slides so that we can share it with others. Please, for those of you who are still here, I've posted in the chat. I'm sure you have seen the flyer, but just as a quick reminder that we do have three more webinars, and the dates are posted there. So please share it with your family, your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues, your team members, people at the church, because I think this is an opportunity for many people to really get a personal therapy, a moment to just pause, to reflect, to get some guidance, and of course, to participate and speak directly with our doctors. Dr. Thompson, do you have any last words you'd like to share?
Sure. Thank you so much, Cheryl, and thank you so much, Dr. Kelly. Thank you, everybody, for hanging around. We go back to where we started. It's all about caring connections, and the more our connections are caring to us and from us, we will be able to be better heroes and create more heroes, as Dr. Kelly went through a while ago. So thank you so much, and may you all be good heroes as you bring out that hope, as you bring out that encouraging energy, as you bring out the resilience, the optimism, the excellence, and of course, the synergy that supports others to sustain success on their journey. But of course, you'd have learned many, many things that allows you to do that easier, that allows you to sustain it, because we don't have enough of us as professionals to do it all here for all those who are affected by this mass disaster. So we need you to champion it and to be another caring connection that multiplies into endless connections across Jamaica and beyond. Bless you all.
Well said. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your evening and your weekend. Keep safe out there.
Thank you, Cheryl and the HRMAJ team. Denisha, you're amazing.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Thompson.
And of course, I have to thank my team, Tiffany and Denisha, Member Services Coordinator, and Denisha has been our technical support. And like Dr. Thompson said, our hero for this evening in helping us to connect our two technical connections together.
Yes.
Yes, it has been a good one.
Well, bless you all. It's been a good one. And
Yes.
looking forward to next week, Thursday, guys.
Absolutely. All right. Take
All
care,
right.
everybody.
Ta-ta.